Well, folks, can I get it all done before it's too dark to see anything? Kinda. It's pretty dark and gloomy and cold out here. Welcome to Eugene. Boy, it's cold as piss. 43 degrees and gloomy today. But you know what? It ain't pouring rain on me, so I'll take it. I got the cool ones parked over there for the moment. And up on the deck today, we got ourselves a Taurus. We got ourselves a jellybean Taurus, and this one here looks like it's doing the Carolina lean a little bit. It's definitely got a crooked leg back here. So we got struts to go on both sides on the rear. That should be relatively simple on this car. Knock on steel. And we got front brake pads and rotors to go on this thing, which I don't know if you can see that rotor from here. Not the worst I've seen, but it's time to frickin' do them, especially with the price of these things. It's just cheap to get parts for this Taurus, especially if you're not bougie about it. And, you know, how expensive of a strut am I going to buy? I didn't even realize that was necessarily what was going on. So we're after is to get that tire away from that fender. And I do see that dent, but that is not the reason that's sitting that sagged up in there. I should have several finger widths of extra in there. So getting warmed up, getting ready to jack it up and get the ball rolling on this shit and knock this one out. We've got her all lifted up and opened up here. And initial inspection shows me that I don't see any of this bent up like a pretzel. That doesn't mean it's perfectly straight, but I believe it's all right. All that should be good. What I do see here is a crusted, busted strut. I don't see a broke spring on it. I was halfway expecting that. But let's just rock on and get this piece of shit out of here. It's no good, that's for sure. I got some new FCS to go in and some sway bar links. Hopefully we can make relatively short work of this one today. Now we do have this pinch bolt style retainer. I think that's more dirty than it is actually rusty. Wish me luck there, but it appears to be the major challenge if there is one in this setup. Well, we've got everything we need to kill it no matter what the hell it presents us, so let's proceed. So far so good. This was relatively quick to get unbolted. So the pinch bolt, it came right out. The brake hose bolt, it came right out. The sway bar link bolt and the bottom piece of that came right out. So that was relatively easy. I may have to loosen this strut rod nut, but it ain't rusted. It'll come right out if I need to. Not an issue there. Let's have a look at the new parts. Roll those beautiful parts footage. What we have here is the economy special. It actually looks pretty darn good to me. So FCS on the struts, of course, for a vehicle this age, it's the only way to go. They're great. I ain't had any problems out of them yet. Several cars rolling around for up to 2 years now. Nobody calling me back, say they're sagging. If they make it to 3, I'm happy with them being, I don't know, what, $40 each? Went with FVP for an economical solution for my rotors, my pads, and my sway bar links. And these guys repackage stuff, and sometimes you get some really good shit. And the price is like nothing. That is a real made in USA part right there. Oh, that's a brand name. That's a very nice sway bar link set for this car. Rotors are rebranded. I see the sticker underneath is a Centric C-Tech sticker. So that's good stuff, especially for like 20 bucks a pop. Good brake pads, again, FCS. So if you're looking for cheap, if you need it to be cheap and you want it to be all right, don't sleep on the FCS. When you buy their brake pads, they'll give you a bag of the Molly stuff, just like the big boys. Costs nothing. Again, it may be hit or miss depending on what you get, but so far, for these common SKUs like Camrys and Tauruses, it's all been excellent quality. Like, they got some real good stuff and put it in their box. So let's get to installing this. I got about 3 hours of daylight left, something like that. That sucks. Let's roll. Nothing like a 4-pound drilling hammer and a pickle fork to get you blood moving and help keep you warm. So there's a few little scuffs on the knuckle, but nothing that's hurted any. And as you see, my old strut is free. Now I got it propped by the knuckle and everything rebounded against it. So now I got to rip the interior out of this car to get to the strut mounts, which are essentially here under this back glass. Once I get all the plastic crap and all the cargo out of the way, it's really easy to do these bolts. So let's keep making quick time. I'd love to see the butt of this thing done here shortly. Let's continue. There's one old sad motorcraft out and on the ground with a big frown. That wasn't too hard. As it turns out, you have to take apart a decent amount of the interior to get to your top nuts for that strut. However, it's only 4 bolts to take that loose. So there isn't, although it looks extreme, it's really not. There wasn't much to getting that apart. So that was straightforward. Up next, I'm going to lube this hole, get this ready to go in. The old sway bar link is a little hassle-ish to get plugged in there. This new one looks like it's going to allow for easier installation, and again, FVP knocked it out this time. This is somebody else's brand of American made stuff that we're installing here for like $3. Well, anyway, made in USA. I'm happy with that for the price. So let's get this propped up in there. My next step is to do the hokey pokey. I've got to fly this into the hole, and I got to get the nub end of the sway bar link to go through that hole. Not that darn complicated, but I'll be ready for some acrobatics. Let's knock it out. Ooh, that was a lot of happy fun time. But look at that, we got a new strut assembly in it with my name on it. New sway bar link, looking badass for $3. Got my bolts in, marked and tightened. Got my top one done, but I'm not going to let it off the jacks just yet. That seems like it's going to streamline everything to leave it apart like it is, and go ahead and get on this other side and blast this corner out off this car. If it'll warm up. It's like 30-something degrees out here. What a day. But side one complete. Well, we got it done. That's another Jenkins Performance suspension on a car. Taurus. These were labeled Ramcoa USA. So that's an American-made brand. And boy, does that look like some nice shit compared to what Ford had done. Sure does install easier. Haven't put the interior back together yet, but my next step, as both sides are all marked and done and pretty and good to go, is put the wheels on this thing, drop it down, and just see how much more high it sits in the rear. I expect quite a bit. Hull wash on this side and just regular ride height on that side would be good. It's probably going to look like it's ready to go mud romping though. Let's get that put on there, and then we can finish the brake job. That's quick and simple and easy comparatively. Hard part's done. Let's get it in gear. Well, that looks more than just a little different, don't it, folks? Alignment's probably still terrible, and the front end sounds terrible too, but we're no longer sitting on collapsedness in the rear. There is a little bit of a hill here. No, that repaired that. Y'all saw it before. That tire was stuck all the way up into that wheel well. I did bash on the dent a little bit from the inside. Got the fender straight again, but no longer will that be dragging on that. I mean, you can see the difference. This was ending up there. So we had that much collapse going on. Interior still torn completely apart and full of junk. But I got to start on this front brake job. This shouldn't take forever. Let me just knock that out. Okay, it looks like it's most definitely time for these guys. I mean, maybe those rotors could have stuck around, but what for? Got the new one hung on it, got the new pads out and ready to install, making this one quick, and for once, Ford is making it reasonable for me to do so. Let's hope I don't have to have too much fun with the caliper, but it ought to be easy. Let's get it together. This is almost 10 minutes on this corner so far, racing the sun. It is getting dark, and it might be starting to flurry or something out here, I'm not sure. But that's one side brake's done real quick there. I love to polish things up more, but you know what? It's functionally clean. I got it where it was important. So that's going to be a lot better. Those pads were very thin. Them rotors very tired. I'm just going to suggest that we do the front end just like we did the rear end. And that CV axle may be a little bit clattery, or it might be okay. It's all old. I can't over-suggest on this one. But let me get the wheel back on this one, get it backed in a little closer up so I can knock out the other side, and then I can just worry about putting interior together in the dark. folks, can I get it all done before it's too dark to see anything? Kinda. It's pretty dark and gloomy and cold out here. But that's all together. Just got done pumping it up. It firmed up good, so that should solve all these problems. Definitely needs front end stuff. Definitely needs tie rod ends as well. So I'm going to recommend to the customer front struts, front tie rod ends outer, and possibly CV axles depending upon budget. I mean, they're all right, but you know how that goes. Anywho, brake fiddle feels good and firm. Brake fluid is dark, but back to max. Let's get the wheel on it. Let's take a quick test drive, and then all that's left is to put the interior back together, which that can happen after I warm up. I can do that and not really see what I'm doing as much, you know? A little less critical. So, expecting all good things. Let's put it on the ground here in Funky Town and finish the day off. Woo! One day's all it takes, folks. Don't let your car be a piece of crap. Fix it. Okay, post-test drive, this is a very, very, very different car. Brakes actually freaking work. It was not stopping well before. When I push the brake pedal, I hear a little bit of noise. I know that I have a bad brake light switch because my brake lights are only working about a third of the time, and the car doesn't want to come out of park a lot of the time. So we got to solve that like immediately is what I've informed the customer. Also, it's hard to say if that's the switch I'm hearing or if the master cylinder might be going bad. Anything's possible on this. It's working. It's holding pressure just fine. It just makes a little bit of a I'm tired noise that makes me not excited. Alignment is in fact out. I don't know if someone attempted to align the car with it on a collapsed strut on the rear, but it's about what it acts like. That steering alignment would be correct for that. Needs tie rod ends and struts on the front. So we got other things to do on it. However, I just made this round of repairs very economically viable for them. Car is a hell of a sight safer. We will get that brake light switch like tomorrow, whatever that takes, and get that on there. But they'll be able to feel the difference and tell that the investment is worth it. I believe between that, a power steering pump, and a tune-up, and this car would be a damn good one for a long time to go. We're well over 200,000 miles, so, you know, can't be upset about these things wearing out. Anyhow, time for me to try to put this interior back together in one piece, and then I can warm up and go get some dinner. There it is. I got the back seat all back together in one piece. That rear tail lamp assembly broke. Well, it was broke. I mean, it just went crunch when I put it back together. So I've got the LEDs facing out. You'll definitely be able to see it, no question. Brake light switch is the bigger problem with that, though. They ain't damn actuating. We're going to have this back this week to deal with that. Now, one thing I will note, please always remember to remove everything from your vehicle before you bring it to be worked on. I had to be all up in the back seat of this today, and there was quite a bit of stuff back there, and well, now it's all in the passenger seat of the car. It's dark and I'm cold. I normally would sort it out and try to arrange things better. That's pretty much how I'm going to give it back to them. I hope they're not terribly upset, but a lot of stuff in the car when I've got to pull everything out like that just makes things kind of a nightmare. Anyway, car's going to ride better, going to do better. Hopefully people can see it stopping at night because it actually will stop now. But we're going to call this mission accomplished and pull it around to the front. Tell the customer to come pick up, get myself cleaned up, and think about some dinner. I don't know. Should I do lasagna? Should I do stew? What should I do, folks? Let me know in the comments below.